Yo, what just happened in hip-hop? The streets are on fire, the blogs are exploding, and social media in complete chaos. Because last night, in what might be the most shocking moment in rap this year, Ice Cube, the OG himself, the godfather of West Coast gangster rap, just crowned a brand new rap king. And it ain't Drake. Yeah, you heard that right. After over a decade of dominance, platinum plaques, global tours, breaking every streaming record in the game, Drizzy might have finally been dethroned. And what's got the culture buzzing? Ice Cube publicly said Drake's time is up, and there's a new era being ushered in. But who is this mystery rapper? What made Cube turn his back on the sixth god? And why are OVO insiders reportedly furious behind the scenes? The betrayal runs deep. Friends are picking sides, longtime allies are falling out, and whispers of a diss track war are already heating up. Even Drake's inner circle is shocked at who Cube crowned, and the story behind it might be even crazier than you think. Stay locked in, because this ain't just rap beef. This is a royal takedown. And we've got all the tea. Let's get into it. So let's rewind the clock to just 4 nights ago in Los Angeles, where the energy was thick and the stars were out heavy. It was the 2025 West Coast Legacy Gala, private invite-only industry event known for celebrating pioneers in hip-hop. Everyone from Kendrick Lamar to Tyler the Creator to Schoolboy Q was in the building. But the tension? Oh, it was almost visible, because rumors had already started circulating that Ice Cube, the legendary NWA frontman and cultural icon, was planning to make a surprise announcement. Nobody knew what it was, but trust everyone was watching. Then, boom! Around 10:37 p.m., Cube takes the stage. The crowd goes silent. And what happens next? Straight up shook the foundation of hip-hop. With a calm but serious tone, Cube leans into the mic and says, "It's time we stop pretending. The throne has changed. There's a new king of rap, and y'all better get used to it." People gasped. Some even laughed nervously, thinking it was just part of his speech. But then Cube continued, and he wasn't joking. Drake had a run. He did his thing, but it's over. And the new king, he's from the soil. He's raw. He's hungry. He's got that West Coast blood in him. And he's coming for everything, bruh. That's when the entire room started buzzing, jaws dropping, phones coming out. Kendrick looked confused. Tyler looked shook. Even Cube's longtime friends looked around like, yo, what's going on right now? And then Cube dropped the name, with no warning, no build-up, just pure conviction. He said, "Welcome to the reign of Dante Havoc." Pause right there. Who the hell is Dante Havoc? Some people knew the name, most didn't, up until that moment. He was a rising underground West Coast lyricist with a small but loyal fan base. Real street poet energy. Gritty voice. Sharp bars. But nowhere near Drake's level. At least not in fame, but that didn't matter. Because when Cube gave him that cosign, the internet exploded. Blogs couldn't keep up. Twitter spaces were flooded with arguments. Instagram lives were non-stop. And Dante Havoc, he posted a single photo of himself on his story that night with just 3 words, "Crowned by Cube," and right there, the war had begun. Within 24 hours, Drake's team issued a subtle but shady response. One of his OVO producers tweeted, "Funny how legends start chasing clout when their albums stop charting." Fans immediately clocked it as a shot at Cube. And Cube, he fired back in a way only a West Coast legend could. On the next episode of his podcast, Straight Out the Truth, he calmly said, "Funny how some of these dudes forget who built the stage, they dance." Things got messier when Dante Havoc dropped a surprise freestyle the next day titled "Still Got Smoke." The entire verse was pure gasoline. Lines like "Your top 5's expired. It's a shelf life / real kings bleed." Not auto-tune and wealth hype had fans in a frenzy. No names were mentioned, but everybody knew he was talking about Drake. Now here's where it gets spicy. Sources close to Drake revealed exclusively to our channel that he felt completely blindsided not by Dante, but by Cube. Apparently, Cube and Drake had a mutual respect over the years. They even reportedly had dinner just months ago in Toronto, discussing a potential collab for Cube's biopic soundtrack. So when Cube made that announcement, Drake allegedly texted him 2 words. Wow, noted. But it didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, things were heating up. Members of Drake's inner circle were pushing him to respond with a diss track. OVO insider Rome posted on his close friend's story, "Studios booked. Gloves off." Fans speculated that Drake was already working on something heavy, but here's the twist. Nobody saw coming. A leaked voice note surfaced from none other than Noah, 40 Shabib Drake's longtime producer and closest collaborator. In the audio, 40 is heard saying, "Maybe it's time we stop chasing approval from people who'll never give it." Cube made his choice. Let's move smarter, not louder. Fans were torn. Was 40 saying Drake should ignore the drama? Or was he calling Cube irrelevant? Either way, OVO Nation was divided, and then came the bombshell in a surprise Instagram Live. Cube went fully unfiltered. "This ain't about numbers. It's about culture. And if we keep handing the crown to whoever streams the most, then we've lost the soul of hip-hop," he said. When asked directly if he thought Drake was overrated, Cube looked straight into the camera and said, "I think he's done evolving. That's the problem. Double quotes. Woo. That hit different. At the same time, Dante Havoc was moving like a man possessed. He booked 5 club shows in LA within 72 hours and showed up at each one with a different West Coast legend by his side. First night, DJ Quick. Second night, Curupt. Third night, Warren G. He was putting on for the coast, and the message was clear. This ain't just a new rapper. This is a movement. But Drake, he stayed quiet, completely silent on socials. Fans started getting nervous. Some said he was planning a calculated response. Others feared he was taking the L in silence. But insiders say Drake was watching everything and plotting something major. Meanwhile, tensions spilled into the wider rap game. Meek Mill, who once beefed with Drake, tweeted a single popcorn emoji. Nicki Minaj unfollowed Cube on Instagram. And even J. Cole was reportedly asked to pick a side during a recent interview. But he refused, saying, "I respect both their pens." That's all I'll say, but not everyone stayed neutral. BOOSIE went live and said, "Man, Cube, wild for that. Drake been running this *T. Y'all gon' act like hits don't matter now?" While Snoop Dogg surprisingly backed Cube, saying in a clip, "I ain't saying Drake ain't nice, but sometimes the crown gotta come home by now." The drama was spiraling into something bigger than music hit, was becoming generational. Young fans versus old heads. Bars versus streams. Substance versus style. And just when you thought it couldn't get crazier, a secret meeting happened. A secret meeting happened. Sources say Cube invited Dante Havoc to his private studio in Compton, where they reportedly discussed a full-length joint project called The Rebirth. The album is said to be a return to lyrical storytelling and hard-hitting West Coast production. And get this, it's allegedly dropping the same weekend Drake is set to release his upcoming album, which was already being teased as his most personal yet. The timing, pure savagery. As all this was unfolding, Dante's team made a genius move. They started leaking throwback videos of Cube mentoring Dante from years ago, showing Cube in the studio with him as far back as 2021. In one video, Cube says, "This kid reminds me of myself before the fame. Hungry, pissed off, and too smart for the industry." So was this crowning years in the making? Or was it an act of calculated sabotage? Because here's the thing, Drake's camp wasn't letting this slide. At least not quietly. Late last night, a mysterious audio snippet leaked, believed to be from Drake himself. The voice raps, "I see the legends throw shade when they bitter. Guess the crown too heavy for a man in the mirror." No confirmation yet if that's official, but if it is, this war is far from over. Just hours after that mysterious audio, snippet leaked, believed to be from Drake himself, and the internet went into a total frenzy. Fans were split. Half were praising Drake for finally showing signs of life, while the other half accused him of being too little, too late. But then something happened that turned the entire narrative upside down. Dante Havoc went live on Instagram, and what he said had the whole culture talking, sitting in a dimly lit studio with a blunt in one hand and a West Coast classic playing softly in the background. Dante looked dead into the camera and said, "I never asked to be crowned. Cube gave me that love out of respect. But now Drake want to throw shade in subliminals. If you've got something to say it with your chest." The comments section exploded. Fans were typing faster than the feed could keep up. Phrases like "rap beef back far" and "the energy we've been missing" flooded the chat. But what shook people most was when Dante added, "I ain't no industry puppet. I got real blood on these bars. So if you want smoke, we can take it to the booth or the streets, whatever." By the next morning, hashtags like hashtag Drake vs Dante and hashtag Throne Wars were trending in over 12 countries. YouTube reactors were posting 10 videos a day. Twitter was on fire with memes. And then came the biggest twist yet. Someone very unexpected entered the chat. Enter Lil Wayne. Yup. Wheezy F Baby himself decided to break his silence and speak on the controversy. During a surprise appearance on a Twitch stream with DJ Akenix, Wayne was asked how he felt about Cube crowning Dante and seemingly dismissing Drake. Wayne paused for a second, sipped his lean, then said, "Man, Cube a legend, no doubt. But Drake, that's my son. He earned that throne. Ain't nobody took nothing. Dante dope. But there's levels." Boom. That one statement sent shockwaves through the culture. Because let's not forget, Wayne was the one who originally introduced Drake to the game. So his opinion, it carries weight. But even deeper than that, it revealed something important. This wasn't just a generational divide. This was starting to feel like full-blown gang warfare within hip-hop's elite families. And that's when Cube did the unthinkable. Without warning, he dropped a new single titled Old Kings, New Blood featuring Dante Havoc. It was raw, aggressive, and unapologetic. Cube opened the song with bars like, "They scared of change, they scared of truth. They love a crown but can't handle youth." And Dante, he took it up another level. In his verse, he spit, "Labels love a safe bet. But the throne ain't rented. I'm everything your idol was before he got timid." Fans called it a declaration of war. But behind the scenes, things were getting darker. Word started spreading that Drake was canceling media appearances. OVO sources claimed he was in album lockdown mode, refusing to talk to almost anyone outside his trusted three-man team. Even 40 reportedly stopped responding to label emails. The silence was deafening. And then, the ultimate betrayal happened in a now-deleted Instagram story. French Montana's, someone long considered part of the Drake circle, posted a clip of him in the studio with Cube and Dante. In the background, you could clearly hear a track playing with French rapping. "I ride with the coast, the throne gotta rotate. It was over. That was the final straw." Fans went ballistic. OVO loyalists called it treason. Others said it was just business. But one thing was clear: Drake's inner circle was crumbling in public. And Cube was playing chess, not checkers. But while the industry was busy picking sides, Drake was quietly making moves. According to an anonymous engineer who worked at a top-secret OVO session in Atlanta, Drake had recorded 3 full diss tracks each, one more savage than the last. But he wasn't releasing them. Not yet. Instead, he was planning something far more strategic, as cinematic. Storytelling album titled 36, a reference to his age, his career span, and, allegedly, the number of people who turned their back on him during this drama. But then another curveball hit, just when fans thought they had the story figured out. A leaked email thread between Interscope Records and Cube's management surfaced, and in it, mentions of a documentary titled King's Fall, Crown's Rise, a behind-the-scenes look at Cube and Dante's journey together, filmed for over 2 years. Wait, what? So this wasn't spontaneous. This crowning might have been planned. Fans started putting together the pieces. The old videos, the sudden rollout, the calculated leaks, even the perfect timing with Drake's album. Was it all a setup? People online started calling it the greatest marketing heist in hip-hop history. Others called Cube a puppet master. And some even accused Dante of being manufactured rebellion, a plant designed to disrupt the throne and shift the culture under Cube's influence. But then came the emotional moment that shifted the tone of the entire beef. In a rare and heartfelt interview on Revolt TV, Dante sat down with N.O.R.E. and opened up like never before. His voice cracked. He got quiet. And then he said, "I grew up on Drake. His music helped me through dark *T. This ain't personal. But when Cube told me he saw a king in me, that was the first time I believed it. I owe him everything." Fans were moved. Even some OVO supporters admitted, "Damn, I respect it now." And just as the internet started softening toward Dante, Drake finally returned. No tweet, no Instagram post, no diss track. Instead, he posted a single image, a throne on fire, and a caption, "Don't beg for a crown, bleed for it." Boom. We were back in the war zone. The comments, pure madness. Everyone from Tory Lanez's burner accounts to Nav's cousin was chiming in. Celebs, influencers, ex-girlfriends all picking sides like it was Game of Thrones. But the most unexpected reaction came from someone who'd been silent this entire time. Pusha T, he tweeted just 3 words. "It begins again." And that's when everything shifted. Because if you know the history, you know what that means? Was Pusha about to join the fight? Was he backing Cube? Or was he coming for Drake again? As the clock ticked toward midnight, one more piece of the puzzle dropped that no one saw coming. Leaked documents showing Dante Havoc had recently trademarked the phrase "rap king." Let that sink in. He legally filed for ownership of the title. The moment the trademark filing hit the blogs, it was like someone lit a fuse under the entire industry. Dante Havoc didn't just want the respect, the bars, or the buzz. He wanted ownership of the very identity hip-hop holds sacred. The phrase "rap king" wasn't just a lyric or a flex anymore. It was now potentially a brand under his control. Merchandise, tours, documentaries, everything. And as soon as the paperwork hit the timeline, the reactions were instant and savage. "Nah, this man really trademarked Rap King." One fan tweeted, "Drake better wake up before they start calling this dude Mr. October." Someone else posted a picture of Drake looking confused with the caption, "When you wake up and your job title been stolen, but the mood inside the OVO camp, anything but funny." According to someone deep in Drake's circle, the trademark move was viewed as a strategic disrespect and a direct hit to the legacy. In a now deleted tweet, Part Nexter wrote, "They rewriting history while the ink's still wet. Crazy." And then, moments later, a suspicious Drake was back. The beat was cold, minimal, almost eerie. And the lyrics, straight venom. He rapped, "I paved roads for these rappers. Now they cross M, like I'm gone." Cube throwing chess moves, but forgot I'm LeBron. The verse went on to drop subtle digs at Dante's rapid rise, saying, "You ain't king, you inherited hype. Cube gave you the crown, but it don't fit right." Social media melted. Hip-hop pages were declaring Drake back in rare form. Fans who'd started leaning toward Dante switched up instantly. Even those who weren't OVO stans admitted the track hit different. And the timing, immaculate. Because just hours before, Cube had announced a joint press event with Dante to formally unveil their upcoming collab project, The Rebirth. And Drake beat them to the punch. But what nobody expected was Cube's response. Just 2 hours after 8 a.m. in Compton dropped, Cube posted a black and white video of himself in the studio, laughing. "Nice verse," he said. "But y'all forgot this ain't Drake's house anymore. It's hip-hop's, and hip-hop chose. Then came the second bomb. At the press event, Cube and Dante unveiled not just an album, but a full-blown takeover plan. A documentary, a fashion line, and a multi-city tour called King's Circle featuring West Coast legends and Dante as the headliner. Cube said, "We're not here to diss. We're here to dethrone." The statement echoed across headlines. But Drake, he wasn't done yet. In a rare call into the Breakfast Club the next morning, he gave his most direct comments yet. "I respect Cube," Drake said calmly, "but I don't answer to nobody, especially not folks trying to rewrite my legacy to boost a rollout." Charlemagne tried to push for more, asking if he saw Dante as competition. Drake paused, then said, "I see him as a student. But even the best students gotta pass real tests." Boom. More fire. Meanwhile, Dante was making headlines of his own. In an emotional clip from the press event, he spoke about growing up fatherless and idolizing Cube as a mentor. "He showed me a path," Dante said. "I ain't trying to take Drake's spot. I'm trying to build my own kingdom." But fans weren't buying the humility act. "You trademarked rap king, bro," someone commented. "You knew exactly what you were doing." Still, the movement around Dante kept growing. Law radio stations started spinning his songs on repeat. Documentaries about his rise were in production, and his streams, they quadrupled in just 1 week. Then, as if the story needed more heat, the next betrayal landed. A leaked DM conversation exposed a convo between The Weeknd and Dante Havoc. In the messages, The Weeknd praised Dante's bars and said, "Been watching your come up. Proud of you." Fans were stunned. Was Abel switching sides? That same night, Drake unfollowed The Weeknd on Instagram. And if that wasn't enough, 2 days later, Travis Scott posted a photo with Dante, Cube, and YG at an undisclosed studio location, captioned, "History in the making." Hip-hop fans lost their minds. At this point, Drake looked isolated, surrounded by yes men or silence. Memes started spreading. Drake as Simba in the Stampede, Drake in the Titanic, even Drake as the last man standing in a battlefield of burned bridges. But then he did something nobody expected. On September 21st, Drake announced a surprise OVO Fest pop-up in Toronto. Free entry, no press, no cameras allowed, just fans and the music. People lined up for blocks. And when he finally hit the stage, his message was loud and clear. "I don't need a cosign. I am the cosign." Then he premiered 3 brand new tracks, each one darker, more aggressive than the last. He didn't name names, but the bars were clear. They're playing dress up with crowns. I built empire talking, but the king still guilt. The crowd went wild. OVO fans felt vindicated. And that same night, the words, "He's still king," trended #1 on Twitter. But the high didn't last long, because while Drake was electrifying his home city, Cube and Dante had quietly landed in New York, and they were headed to Hot 97. The interview that followed, absolute chaos. Cube doubled down, saying, "We're not here to tear Drake down. We just not gonna pretend he's still at the top when the hunger's gone." And Dante, he dropped this bomb. "I sent him a verse last year. He ignored it. Guess it wasn't from someone rich enough?" Fans gasped. That revelation set off a new debate. Had Drake been ignoring real talent in favor of protecting his image? Was this entire war not about ego, but access? Even Charlemagne circled back and said, "Yo, ... This ain't even about bars anymore. This about power. Who gets to control the culture?" And he was right, because now it wasn't just Drake versus Dante. It was youth versus legacy, industry versus independence, old rules versus new players. And as the lines kept blurring, one final twist was set to change everything. A leaked image surfaced showing a private meeting room at Spotify headquarters in Stockholm. In it, Cube, Dante, and J-Z. Yes, J-Z. The leaked image of Cube, Dante, and Jay-Z sitting at the same table sent shockwaves through the entire culture. Hip-hop fans around the world were scrambling for answers. What were they plotting? Why was Jay there? And most importantly, was Hav picking a side? Within minutes, think pieces were flying. Some claimed Jay was just playing mediator. Others were convinced he was making a business move, backing the next wave before the old guard got too comfortable. One fan tweeted, "If Jay cosigns Dante... it's officially over for Drake. No debate." Another posted a gif of Beyoncé sipping tea with the caption, "She knows it's done." Meanwhile, over in Toronto, the OVO camp was spiraling. Drake's team reportedly held an emergency meeting. Multiple sources confirmed that certain collaborators were put on pause, and several release dates were quietly pushed back. And get this, Drake allegedly canceled a major appearance at the Billboard Hip Hop Awards just hours before showtime. Insiders said he was pissed, locked in, and feeling like the entire industry had turned their backs on him. But then, another twist dropped that nobody saw coming. Jay-Z's name appeared on the official. Writing credits of Dante and Cube's upcoming single titled Heavy as the Head. That's right. Not just a feature, he was a writer. Suddenly, the speculation wasn't speculation anymore. Jay had made his decision. Cube was building an army, and Hav had just joined the front lines. The betrayal hit fans hard. Drake had always looked up to Jay, modeled his career after his moves. There were rumors for years that Jay was the reason Drake never signed to ROC Nation, but they always kept things respectful. But it wasn't just about numbers. The content hit hard. In the song Dead Weight, Dante rapped, "Idolized him when I was broke. Now he ghostin'? Guess the crown don't fit when the soul's eroded." Fans were stunned. The pain in the delivery felt real, raw, unfiltered, and then, the final nail in the coffin, Dante announced the King's Circle. Tours would launch in Drake's own backyard. Toronto. That move right there. Pure provocation. Sources say Drake was livid about it. The word was Cube personally requested Toronto as the first stop. A symbolic gesture, taking the throne back to the empire, but just when it looked like the war was one-sided. Drake finally dropped the hammer. At 11:59 p.m. on September 22nd. He released a surprise track called North Face, produced by 40. No features. Just Drake in his bag. And this wasn't soft, moody Drake. This was early, hungry, come up, Drake, sharp, surgical, venomous. He rapped. "I left the door open. They came in with masks, smiled in my face while they plotted the crash. Now it's me and the mirror, and the ghost of my past. But y'all forgot Kai built this from ash." He even took a direct shot at Dante. The student got stripes. Then the teacher got scars. But don't forget who wrote the syllabus. Bars. The track broke the internet. Fans screamed, "He's back." OVO pages lit up. The track shot to #1 trending on YouTube within 2 hours. Even his critics had to admit was the hardest thing he'd dropped in years. And for a moment, it felt like balance was restored. But the celebration didn't last long, because just 48 hours later, at the first King's Circle tour stop in Toronto, Cube pulled one last legendary move. Before Dante even touched the mic, Cube walked out to the center of the stage, looked straight into the sea of Canadian fans, and said, "We not here to take anything from your hero. We're here to remind him the culture don't belong to just one man." Then Dante came out and performed a brand new, unreleased track. The chorus. "They told me I should wait my turn, but the throne don't rotate, it burns." Fans erupted. Boos, cheers. Everything at once. Some threw up OVO signs. Others threw them down. It was chaos. But the message was clear. This wasn't about one diss track. This wasn't about West Coast versus East Coast. This was the passing of the torch, whether Drake wanted it or not. And as the show ended, Dante took the mic one last time and said, "No hate, just hunger." Thank you, Toronto. Even kings gotta evolve. The next morning, Cube posted a picture of him and Dante with the caption, "Mission accomplished." And Drake. He posted nothing. Radio silence. The world waited, biting its nails. Was he planning one final strike? Or had the throne really been snatched? Because for the first time in over a decade, the crown was in question, and that's where the story hits a crossroads. So now, here we are, and the smoke hasn't cleared. The crown's still spinning, the fans are still debating, and the culture divided like never before. One side screaming that Drake is still the king that is Penn. His legacy, his dominance can't be undone by a cosign and a couple bars. The other side, convinced that Dante Havoc is the future, the now, and the crown is right where it belongs. In the hands of hunger. Ice Cube made his choice. Jay-Z backed the movement. Even some of Drake's own allies switched lanes. But in the end, it ain't just about who got bars or who got followers, it's about who the people believe in, who the people feel, and that's the scariest part. Because for the first time in Drake's career, he might not be in control of the narrative. He's not the underdog, not the golden boy, not the untouchable six god. He's just another king in a game where the rules are changing fast. So now we want to know what you think. Is Dante Havoc really the new king? Or is Drake just letting the storm pass before he reminds everybody why he runs this rap game? Was Cube speaking truth, or just pushing an agenda? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on? Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and hit that bell so you don't miss part 2, because if the rumors are true, a response album is coming. And trust us, it's about to get even messier. You already know we got all the exclusive tea, all the leaked audio, and all the behind-the-scenes drama. This ain't just rap news. This is reality rap. See y'all in the next one.